Hey, Mike. Mike, take that shit out of your nose. Haven't I repeatedly told you to be aware of your appearance? Jesus Christ. Everyone knows that appearances hold virtues. Michael, humanity is utopian. In some fashion, I, by default, am included, by definition, in everyone. Who are we but the summation of our influences? No, you don't seem to get it, Michael. Let me tell you something about the great dictator of Germany, the Führer Adolf Hitler. Around the time that the Führer was ascending on his rise to power, he came to witness this film called Der Tunnel, based off the novel by Bernard Kellerman, which by the end had made him weep in a way that he hadn't felt since his childhood. In this story-turned-film, the main protagonist, Mac Allen, has to convince the upper echelons of New York society to fund his grandiose project of building an underground transatlantic tunnel that connects America with Europe. Lloyd, one of the major investors in the project, repeatedly claims throughout the book that this is the biggest and most daring project in the world's history. Now Hitler, throughout his speeches, in some twisted appropriation, would come to call his project for the German Volk the greatest of all time. Mac Allen, through the power of oratory, would come to convince his audience to fund his project. The audience described the way he spoke, and they said, in spite of his hours talking, it showed no sign of fatigue. On the contrary, it was full of rigor and alertness. His voice was clear and resonant. The audience also noticed one other remarkable thing about this man. Throughout the whole of his address, he had neither laughed nor perpetrated a joke. Humor did not seem to be one of his characteristics. Now Hitler, maybe conscious of it at the time, came to embody Mac Allen in the future more than he would know. Hitler would subtly tune his speeches to the particular crowds and contexts. When speaking to the peasants, he would use a specific vernacular to which they could relate to. And when speaking to intellectuals and professors at universities, he would come up with convoluted and abstract styles in vogue in such circles. He would use extensive, uncommon words and phrases in Latin correctly, which would impress the intellectuals. So, Michael, what would come to be the current worldview of Hitler and the audience's view of Mac Allen could be summed up in what the workers who were protesting against Mac Allen after a catastrophe of 3,800 died due to a tunnel collapsing. Mac Allen, no friend of the workers? Nonsense and lies. Mac Allen is the executioner employed by the capitalists, the greatest executioner of all time. You see? So you've got to get your act together, Michael. Remember that the word person comes from the Latin persona, which means mask. Be aware of your mask. But I have to go. I'm running late. Give a hug to your mother.